All right, hey everyone, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth for a daily market recap. Today is Thursday, February 11th, and in today's video we're going to discuss Aurora Cannabis's earnings. So we'll go over that in detail and we'll get started here in just a moment. Just going to give a few minutes for people to join. All right, looks like we have a few people joining, so we're going to get started here with the stream. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, and pretty excited for today's content. So we will bring up today's charts, and just before we get into it, we're going to discuss some market moving headlines and news and events. Then we'll look at Aurora Cannabis's earnings. Disney's earnings are out as well, and we'll do a daily market recap for the broader market. I'm going to do everything in one video today. Wasn't feeling that well today, so just going to try and power through this. So before we jump into today's content, make sure to smash the like, shows me some support, and consider subscribing to the channel. So we'll jump into the Aurora earnings in just a second, but I did want to just go over a few things here first. So the jobless claims came in, initial jobless claims at 793,000, and we were forecasting 757, and last week was 812. So we are down from last week, but came in at a miss. Disney reported earnings. So earnings per share, 32 cents adjusted, revenue 16.25 billion versus 15.9 billion. So they beat on revenue. So moving over to Aurora Cannabis. So they just reported their fiscal 2021 second quarter results, and they just mentioned in a press release that they weren't releasing estimates or details on the EPS. So, and there's nothing really here about their losses either. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Let me know in the comments below if you do come across that. But revenue came in at 70.3 million, and we were expecting 70.64. So it was a slight miss there on revs, but again, don't have any numbers for the EPS, but stock is up over 6% here after hours, and they improved on their EBITDA loss as well. So I think just from the EBITDA alone, we're seeing a positive reaction. And the fact that it wasn't an absolute gong show and terrible earnings is likely, giving investors confidence. So we'll move on. So like I said, EPS was forecasted at 0.3105, but we haven't seen anything for that yet. Let me know if you do see the EPS numbers. So we'll jump into the overall broader market. I'll just do a quick update on the crypto sector. So Bitcoin broke to all-time highs, and it was a pretty big fake out there, a bull trap. We broke to an all-time high, and then we ended up losing the 15-minute uptrend. Pretty nasty, and hopefully you're using stop losses. We're getting volatile, and we're starting 4-hour consolidation straight after coming off of an all-time high. So a little bit of a red flag there, but 4-hour uptrend is going to be key. So we'll move on. We'll look at the broader market here real quick. So SPY, we are a daily inside bar. So at this point, it's still a daily bull flag. Just take a look at QQQ real quick. Same deal, still a potential daily bull flag inside bar going to be on watch tomorrow. So whichever way we break out of these inside bars is going to dictate either we go back to all-time highs or we continue daily consolidation. And we'll just take a quick peek at the dollar here. Dollar was bouncing, trying to set its daily higher low compared to 90.04. So we'll want to change the 4-hour trend back to an uptrend to be confident. Oil was pulling back. So it started daily consolidation. And again, I've been highlighting this monthly downward resistance line that we can trace back all the way to the all-time high. We're very close after coming off this monthly bull flag and uptrend. So likely needs to pull back in my opinion. And we'll take a look at gold and silver here. Silver is essentially flat, gold down about 1%, but daily consolidation continues. and gold finally started its daily consolidation today. So Bitcoin was a very early heads up yesterday on daily consolidation, and it followed through on SPY and followed through on gold and silver and oil. So we'll just take a look at some overall individual tickers here. So CWeb, TAP, INSG down the most. BlackBerry was down about 5% today as well on the bull list. We had Riot continuing its ascent higher. Space up over 13%, NEXE, Fiverr, and honorable mention there to CDAY and MU. So we are seeing some green across the board. It wasn't all red. The cannabis sector saw a lot of red today, and in my video yesterday, I highlighted the importance of developing a plan, especially going into today. We knew Aurora had earnings after the bell. So we'll just take a look at Aurora here after hours. It is up over 6%, currently 15.38. So again, they did miss on revs, and we don't have the EPS numbers, but I think due to the EBITDA, the improving EBITDA, and the fact that they didn't absolutely bomb earnings is, catching a lot of people off by surprise. And we had some nice double bottoms there at around the 1461, 1466. We did lose that going into the end of the day, but we'll see how we open tomorrow during regular trading hours. And it was a pretty bloody day in the marijuana space today. Tilray down about 50%. And again, I mentioned this yesterday, there was two gaps in the chart, and look exactly where we filled. We had a gap in the chart, second gap there at 30.60, and today we hit a low of 31.22, and we bounced right off EMA 12, which has been holding from all the way down here at $7. So if you were surprised by today's move from $7 just a couple of months ago, we're up almost 700%. So 700% to the upside, and then a drop of 53% is not, completely unexpected. We should be anticipating this. And like I said, EMA 12 has been holding. We knew to be scouting daily consolidation. SPY gave us a heads up of daily consolidation. Bitcoin gave us the heads up. We had a couple of gaps there, and we were just absolutely full bull mode, and we know nothing can go straight up forever. OGI, APHA down the most as well. So just taking a look at Tilray, we're still in a daily uptrend, and this is what I mentioned in my videos as well, and I told private members in the POW group community, we're still in an uptrend, and we hadn't formed a daily high or low in about 4 days, and we could drop 65% and still be in a daily uptrend. So when we're looking for daily higher lows, usually hourly oversold conditions are good entries, and today we pretty much got there. We didn't quite get oversold, but very, very close. So in my opinion, it would have been a good idea to start scaling into these names. I bought a bit more Hexo, some Cureleaf, and some CL today, Cresco on the pullbacks. But we'll take a look here at the US in just a second. But this is a nice entry potentially. You could scale in. And if we do see a bearish reaction during regular trading hours tomorrow from Aurora earnings, and if we get the EPS number out and their total loss, things could go south in a hurry. So I'll be watching Tilray and APHA for potential hourly oversold and extreme oversold conditions tomorrow. If we get into the low 20s, I'd be interested in buying that. We're currently sitting at 35 on APHA, Tilray sitting at 34.62, so very similar. And when this hourly bounce gets underway, it's going to be a huge one. We had hourly bear flags here as well that followed through. So I mentioned that in the community today as well, to be on the lookout for hourly bear flags, and we got that follow through. No green on the Canadian side today. So CGC was an hourly bear flag, but holding up better than most, didn't break to new lows. So again, names that run harder, you might be wondering, well, why did Freya and Tilray drop so much compared to CGC? Well, the difference is they ran more, and CGC has lost the daily higher lows. So we lost the daily uptrend. So that's notable. APHA still hasn't lost its daily uptrend, and Tilray still hasn't lost its daily uptrend. So ACB hasn't lost its daily uptrend. Hexo hasn't lost its uptrend. So seeing a little bit of red flags there on CGC, and CGC almost tested EMA 26, and that's some huge bear volume there as well. But we'll look for EMA 26 to hold, and we'll kind of consider it an anomaly for now. If CGC rebounds tomorrow and most names do not lose their daily uptrends, then we can consider it, a non-event, and we'll move on from there. But if other names start to consolidate tomorrow, the chances of them losing their daily uptrends as well increases, because Canopy, being the leader in the space, has already done so. So we'll be monitoring that very, very closely tomorrow. On the US side, MedMen was down over 60%, 63%, MJNA, 36%, Ian. So again, these high flying names, the ones that run the most, hundreds and hundreds of percent, it's not uncommon for them to drop 30, 40, 50%. And that's why we don't recommend chasing. CXXI and TAT and BioHarvest were up today as well. So congrats to the bulls there. CGC breaking CXXI breaking weekly resistance. And I did a video on this. You can go to my YouTube channel, just search CXXI. And I called this out a couple of weeks ago here when we were down to 133. I said, is there an explosive move coming on CXXI? And we got exactly that. Huge volume. We have resistance at 252. We got to 253, starting to pull back. So in my opinion, we likely need to pull back here a little bit, cool off some RSI, and form at least a daily higher low at this point, which we haven't formed since all the way down here at about $1.70. So like I said, I loaded up on some Curaleaf today. I loaded up on some Cresco, on some EMA 12 tests. And like I said, I'm slowly starting to shift my focus away from Canadian MJ back over to US MSOs. And in my video yesterday, I did a flashback of, I think it was January 6th, so over a month ago. The title of the video was, is it time to buy cannabis stocks, and US or Canadian? And I said, I'm going to be buying Canadian because of uplisting to major exchanges, because it was lagging, because US MJ had already run 500, 600%, and because we could see some M&A deals and improving fundamentals. And now that we've run hundreds of percent in Canadian MJ, I'm going to start shifting my focus over to US MSOs again. And that focus has shifted starting today and holding up fairly well. Cura only down 7%. So again, you might be wondering, well, why wasn't US MJ down today as much as the Canadian sector? And that's because they were just slow and steady grinds up. They didn't run hundreds of percent, and there's not as many people taking profits. So added some CL today as well. I really like both of those names. CL didn't even quite touch the EMA 12, but I did start to scale in, and I have some dry powder left over that I will be scaling into eventually again here as well. If we do see more consolidation, we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross there as well. So let's just take a look at ACB on the weekly. We are extremely bullish on all indicators here. MACD, stochastic, we're well above the 10-week moving average, down at 1078. On the weekly moving averages, we're still above the 50 weekly, and we have the 100 up here at 3630. So we have the 50 weekly moving average down at 984. We have the 10-week moving average down at 1078. So a lot of support in that range, and obviously $10 psychological will be very strong. We have the 50-day moving average down at 1092. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a pullback to around the 11 or the $10 mark. And we did have a golden cross here on ACB. So we had this daily higher low when we were in a daily uptrend. We were scouting a daily higher low, and that provided an awesome entry here. Just with a stop below the 200 and the 50-day moving average, you could have entered on a golden cross signal. And from there, 10 up all the way to 19. So almost 100% gain from that golden cross. So again, when we run hundreds of percent and traders or investors back here entered on this golden cross signal, they're up almost 100%. So anybody who's bought up here, you might be up 10, 20%, but there's people who are still up hundreds of percent. And then there's people who bought way down here who are up, 2, 3, 400%. So we need to expect these things. And with Aurora doing what they do best, dilution, wouldn't be surprised if we seen another round of funding. We'll want to see their cash position and their total loss as well. We do have the 20 daily moving average down here at 1257 as well that we'll be watching, and the last daily high or low sitting at 1256. So that could be a potential play tomorrow if we do see a negative earnings reaction during regular trading hours when we get more information out, such as EPS and total loss, that type of thing. So that's where we stand. I do want to bring up some resistance here, just in case we do see. So we have resistance at 1968, and we got as high as 1898. So huge resistance there at 1968 and $20 psychological. After that, we got a gap in the chart here as well, up around the $24 area. But we're still in a daily uptrend. No major red flags, so we'll want to see how this opens tomorrow. And just checking in on all of our names here. So ACB up almost 10% now after hours. APHA up over 5%, currently 1787. CGC up over 1.5%, so just under 2%. Cron essentially flat, up 5 cents. Hexo up almost 5% here after hours. SNDL up over 7%. Tilray up over 3%. So far so good. Seems like earning reaction is favorable for the bulls, but again, that doesn't mean anything until we see those EPS numbers and the reactions during regular trading hours. So just taking a look at the chat here. Have you heard anything about CCIV? Any new news? No, I haven't. Actually, I did see, you're talking about BioHarvest, I believe. I'm just bringing that up here, CCIV. Churchill Capital Corp. No, I don't know anything about that one, unfortunately. Thanks for doing this. No problem. ASA Manifesto, QCSMB, MSO Gang, total loss, 293 million. Oh, ouch. See if it's reacting. It's up over 10% now, so doesn't seem to be playing a huge factor at this point. But again, a lot can change over the course of the morning, and SPY's going to really dictate what other names are. We noticed that SPY yesterday, if we looked at all the individual names yesterday when SPY was selling off, most names did the exact same thing. Huge drop in the morning and then slow and steady grind up, and essentially just followed SPY for the most part. And we'll be watching SPY into tomorrow as well. So even if we see a bullish reaction tomorrow, if we see headwinds from SPY, if SPY breaks the daily inside bar bearish tomorrow, then we could see, even if we see a higher open or a gap up in MJ, we could see a potential, party spot. It might be a party pooper essentially if SPY starts to consolidate on the daily. So in my opinion, you have to be watching SPY right now. We are coming off of a V-shape to all-time highs. We are a daily bull flag. So most important support is going to be 387.50 going into tomorrow. And we also have EMA 12 sitting right there as well at 385.66. So no major red flags yet. We're going to be watching SPY going into tomorrow. And again, just if you are in profit on other names, make sure to take some off the table. Again, this isn't financial advice, but if it were me, I'd be taking some off the table. We know that SPY is likely due for some consolidation. And just like I mentioned yesterday with MJ and Tilray, I said Tilray was going to be a very big short target today, and you couldn't have asked for better follow through. And like I said, 2 gaps in the chart. EMA 12 was a long way down, and very, very bearish candle here on the daily. So important support is going to be the low of the day, 31.22. If we lose that tomorrow, we're likely heading to EMA 26, which is down around $24. So I'm going to wrap things up here. I'll just check the chat. Merging with Lucid, CCIV, thanks for the MJ updates. You're very welcome. No, I didn't hear they were merging with Lucid, actually. Thanks for letting us know. I'll be looking into that. Tesla contender, got it. Yeah. There's a couple other names. Lion Electric is another one that we've been following in our group. So be keeping an eye out on that one as well. Do want to just check in, now that you mention it, let's take a look at Tesla today. So daily inside bar, very similar to SPY. So it started daily consolidation, but obviously more of a pullback. So we mentioned this yesterday, it's been relatively weak compared to SPY and all about 780 support, but daily inside bar will likely break tomorrow. We could go sideways for a little bit more, but we'll see which way we break tomorrow, and likely going to be dictated by SPY. Obviously news can change that. Considering Monday is closed, should we load up on Friday? So tomorrow, I'm assuming you mean load up on MJ. So yeah, I do think that Tilray and APHA, they were high short targets for me today. But again, I wasn't feeling well today, so I starting to feel a little bit better here now, but I didn't really do any trading today, so I missed that, unfortunately, but hopefully there were some bears here that were able to profit. But yes, I would consider loading up on MJ tomorrow, especially if we see lower opens. So we were almost hourly oversold on Afria. We're almost hourly oversold on Tilray. We got very, very close. So if we do see a gap down tomorrow or a lower open, this could be, we want to see a gap down actually in order to be extremely bullish, see those hourly RSI get overextended, and we're in a daily uptrend, and usually you're looking for hourly oversold conditions for entries when you're in daily uptrend, especially when you're in daily, weekly, and monthly. So depending on how we open tomorrow, yes, I do think that it would be a good idea to load up. But again, I'm going to be starting to shift my focus away from Canadian LPs in terms of long-term holds. I like Hexo as a long-term hold. I've got some Xena, some KBEV. That's pretty much it for MJ. I've pretty much trimmed everything. I got a couple in my long-term portfolio like Cresco and Curaleaf and stuff like that I'm not touching. And I'm going to be adding to those positions. So in terms of Canadian MJ, obviously there's going to be a huge bounce here when it happens on Tilray and APHA with no resistance on the hourly from all the way, no real resistance up until $76. So we could easily see a 10, 20% bounce here once this hourly bounce gets underway, but we need to break the high of the previous hourly candle, and we need to confirm a 5-minute uptrend. And we are doing that here into extended hours, but we're still in a 5-minute downtrend here if we take off extended hours. So again, we want to see that confirm a 5-minute uptrend during regular trading hours tomorrow. But again, lots of trades to be had in Canadian MJ. I'm not going to completely take it off my watch list, but it'll be more of a swing and day trade for me now rather than a long-term investment, because I do think that uplisting is going to happen soon for the US MSOs, and we're going to start to see more of a shift away from Canadian MJ into US MJ. And I just want to protect my profits. Don't want to give any back from, I'm up hundreds of percent on a lot of MJ names, so I don't want to give any of that back. Question for you, when or what will be necessary for Hexo to differentiate itself in terms of stock movement from the rest of the marijuana crowd? Great question. So Hexo has a very bad reputation for dilution, and you got to keep in mind that even though we've run hundreds of percent from the lows, there's still a ton of bag holders on this name. So think of anybody who loaded up here, or anybody who loaded up here on this high or low, or even the $12 range, or who bought near the all-time highs, or who bought when we started to consolidate. So we hit 33. Again, this was after the split, so that would have been 4 times less. So, you know, we dropped from there, 33 down to 22. How many people are like, oh my God, it's such a good deal, it's on sale, and they bought, and then it just kept bleeding and bleeding. And then there's people that bought around $12 and $15 thinking they're getting a good deal. And those people are still heavily underwater. So at this point, there's still a lot of bag holders. There's still a lot of bad reputation in terms of just overall sentiment. And people still think that Hexo is, you know, a small player. And Hexo, I think the reason why they're differentiating themselves is because anybody can go and start a marijuana company and grow marijuana. It's not difficult. But do you know any farmers that farm corn or, just any kind of tomatoes? Do you know any farmer that is huge, that is a massive wealthy person? Generally not. I mean, they might have some money and they might be pretty good, they might be pretty good off and well off, but there's never been anybody that's really made a substantial amount of money from growing plants. And that's why I think Hexo, it's no different, it's just a commodity. The weed plant is a commodity. So they are focusing on the experience, the consumer experience, they're focusing on making it proprietary, making it into something special. And I really do think that Sebastian St. Louis, he's the only CEO of the major tier 1 companies left. And I think that's for good reason. He gets paid the big bucks. I think he got paid about 11 million last year or something. So there's a reason why he gets paid, in my opinion, that much, and why he's still with the company as the CEO is because he understands the marijuana industry extremely, extremely well. And he understands even more importantly, he understands the consumer behavior and he understands what consumers want. They just recently launched the Up Cannabis brand, and all my friends just want to go into the store and get something 20% and above. So they've released a completely new brand that's 20% and above every time, and they improve their cultivation. And it's really, really noticeable that they've made that, and they're innovating in the space. And it's very clear. You look at Sun Farms, Village Sun Farms, you look at Pure Sun Farms, you look at Canopy, you look at all these other major LPs, they all started releasing their value marijuana ounces after Hexo did. So Hexo has been leading the innovation and scrambling, making other LPs scramble to duplicate their efforts. They've just released CBD drinks in Colorado through Molson Coors. They're going to have other states very soon that they can do that through. And once federally permissible, they'll be able to utilize that distribution channel, turn the key, enable mass distribution across all of the US and Canada. You wait until their earnings. That's all I have to say. I think what's going to differentiate Hexo from the rest of the pack is going to be earnings here next month. And it's scheduled on TradingView for the end of March. So all I got to say is just wait for earnings. I think they're going to absolutely blow it out of the water. If they become EBITDA positive, that's going to be great. And they turn a profit. If they become EPS positive, even better. But we'll focus on positive EBITDA as the first step. And I'm expecting upwards of 50 to 60 million in revenue from Hexo. So again, once we start to see more brand recognition, I think it's kind of similar to Tesla. Tesla didn't make any money for the longest time, and everybody and their dog was bearish Tesla. All the analysts said, don't buy Tesla, they don't make any money. And they turned a profit last year around this time. Let's just bring up the Tesla chart. So this is back, obviously pre-split. So five times less shares, and the price was divided by 5. So if you look back here in September of 2019 and then January 2020, which was just a year ago, we were down here at $76, which is around $200 pre-split. And look at their earnings. 68% miss, 284% gain, 521% miss, 261% miss, 64% miss, 3,600 gain. We saw 68% miss, and then here it is. This was the one that set everybody off when we had 128% surprise, then 548% surprise. So we had bad earnings, and then leading up into January, February, and then even into April in the summer. Like, look at that earnings. 54,000% increase and surprise. So I think it could be very similar to Hexo. Hexo struggling to become profitable. Once they turn to profit, everybody in their dog was bearish, is now, short, and they're underwater. And so many people just rode the hype. And obviously the electric vehicle market, probably not going to be the exact same situation, but similar in the fact that Hexo hasn't turned a profit, and I think that this could be a very huge success story in 2021 if we see significant improvement in their earnings and we continue to see earnings improve and we see a crazy beat like, 54,000% upside and surprise. I think that Hexo has a lot of better days ahead of them. And like I said, just keep an eye on earnings going into the end of next month. So CCIV forming symmetrical triangle, possible upside in coming days. Yep. It's a bullish continuation pattern. Thanks, I'm heavy in waiting on merger news. Yeah, you could be waiting a little while. You're very welcome. ASA Manifesto, that's music to my ears, sir. Thanks again, you are welcome. 1 gram of OS Keef just launched in Quebec for $15. Wow. Yeah, the Molos here in in Alberta, they're $2.99. So, actually they're $2.95 up the street at Nova Cannabis. So they're actually cheaper than the SQDC now. And their little victories are on sale for $5. And I'm thinking that could become the new norm and the new price. But I went in there and bought 6 Molos. And it's like essentially it's cheaper than buying a 6-pack of beer sometimes. So a lot of people are very bearish. They say that the drinks are a fad and it's gonna die down and that there's not enough dosage and they're too expensive. Well, little did they know that Health Canada is actually working on the Cannabis Act reform to allow more dosages. You can buy the THC drops and add as much as you want. It's really not a big deal, in my opinion. And the prices are going to go down once they turn the mass distribution on. So once the volume kicks in, and we're already seeing prices go down, and it's only been a couple of months. So what's it going to be like in a couple of years? Personally, I don't even drink alcohol that much anymore. I've switched to the Molos and other cannabis-infused beverages, and it's you feel 100% better, and the price is about the same, and yeah, it's medicine. If Hexo pulls a Tesla, that would be insane. Yeah, no, again, it's probably not going to do what Tesla did in terms of, EV and electric vehicles being the story of 2020 and possibly even 2021. Obviously, that's where the world's headed. So I don't think that Hexo has the same landscape. And obviously, Tesla was the first to market. They had first movers advantage. They were the leader in the space. And Hexo was late to the party. They only started 3 years after Canopy had their inception. So they were, I think, like the 14th or 15th LP who started. Now they're top 4, and they had a 6-month head start as well, Canopy, on the beverages. And just in a few short months, Hexo beat Canopy for #1 leader in market share. So in my opinion, Hexo is doing very, very well, and they're on the right path, and they could easily take #1 market share in Canada. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to take that from Canopy, given the fact that they're so huge and just they were first mover. They had the early advantage. But I agree. I think it's going to be very similar if Hexo posts EBITDA positive next month and huge earnings, and then the next month they post EPS positive and even bigger earnings. It's going to be very similar to Tesla, in my opinion. It just won't look back. But again, this isn't financial advice. Do your own research. All investments have risk. This is for entertainment purposes only. Have you checked ACB report already? How does it look? Yeah, I looked into it. The EBITDA was an improvement. It doesn't really say anything about their total loss, and their EPS wasn't mentioned. Their revenue came in with a slight miss, but essentially in line with estimates. It only missed by like $200,000. So it came in at 70.3 million, and we were expecting 70.64. So slight miss there. Haven't seen the numbers on the EPS or the losses yet. And I haven't really been able to dig deeper as I've been doing this stream and answering a few questions from the folks in here. Alcohol out, Molo in, absolutely. All right, well, this has been fun. I'm going to do these lives a little bit more with you folks. And I also turned on the super chat, so you guys should be able to see the super chat there. It's pretty cool new feature. You can get your posts, put at the top of the list. So if you have a question, You can get your question pinned there. There's a bunch of other little neat features that you can check out as well. Pretty cool. But let's just take a look at ACB now. So coming down a little bit here, but still up over 7%. So again, once we see the EPS numbers, total loss numbers, and how SPY is opening the day tomorrow, as SPY breaks the daily inside bar bearish and continues daily consolidation, that'll obviously hurt the MJ sector. Not that the MJ sector can't run without SPY, but it's headwinds as opposed to the wind at their back, so to speak. So I'm going to wrap it up. We're at about 35 minutes. I guess I'll just wait and see if there's any other questions. Give you guys a couple more seconds to post any questions. Is ACB going to go up or no? Well, it's going up right now. Again, we'll have to see how pre-market is tomorrow, how SPY opens up tomorrow. We saw crypto was selling off a little bit. We saw some weakness in the metals. We saw some weakness in the broader market. Everything is very overextended at the moment. Not that we can't keep going, but we did come down and test EMA 12, and this was a fairly significant red candle. Obviously mine's white, but most have it as red. But yeah, we could see a negative reaction during regular trading hours. So we won't know until tomorrow. Once we get those EPS numbers out, once we get their total loss numbers out, seems like they did a pretty good job hiding it. But like I said, market seems to be reacting fairly well here, and SPY is going to really determine the direction as well. In the long term, I guess it will, but right now it's super volatile. Yep. Again, from the lows, we've run from 371, we've run all the way from 371 to $20. So there's tons of people that are up, 10x, and that are going to continue to be locking in profits. So we'll see. Obviously, news can change the sector as well. We'll see if any other merger or M&A deals come out. That could obviously, even if SPY consolidates tomorrow and we see a bear break, and there's another M&A deal comes out or a new partnership, obviously that could change. But going by what we have for data right now, it looks like we're going up. And the fact that everybody was likely anticipating ACB to miss earnings and have a terrible earnings report, and the fact that they didn't, I think, is going to be sort of a just a sigh of relief, I guess. And we could go up tomorrow. I think that we very well could. On the hourly chart, we did start the hourly bounce here after hours, but on the extended hour, or if we take off extended hours, we didn't start the hourly bounce here, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and there's no real support on the hourly down here till 12.57. So if we do see that bear cross, we'll be looking down to $12. But we'll want to see tomorrow, we'll want to see a break of the previous hourly candle. If we break above the previous hourly candle, then we can be confident that the hourly bounce is underway, and we need to change the hourly trend back to an uptrend to be confident that our daily higher lows are set. So what we would be looking for tomorrow during regular trading hours is something like this, where we go up, set a lower high compared to 1898, and then come down, set a higher low compared to the low here, and then break to a higher high, confirm that hourly uptrend. So we'll want a higher low compared to 1439 tomorrow, get as big of a bounce as we can as possible to create enough room to form that that hourly higher low and a trend change to be confident that that daily pullback is in, and we can look toward recent highs. How was Aurora ACB? Yeah, so we've been talking about Aurora. They slight miss on their revenue, but essentially came in line. EPS isn't out yet. Their EBITDA was an improvement. So we'll continue to monitor. I'll do a little bit more research here after the stream as well. So I'm going to wrap it up. We're going on 40 minutes, and it doesn't look like there's any more questions. So with that, I'm going to end it there. If anybody has any questions after the fact, make sure to drop them in the comments below. And we'll see you tomorrow for another daily market recap. Best of luck going into tomorrow, and make sure you develop a plan. Take care, everyone. And